Hey guys, I'm Craig Harris. I'm the editor-in-chief of the DS and Game Boy Advance channels of IGN.
Hi, I'm Doug Perry. I run the Xbox and Xbox 360 sites.
My name is Dan Adams, and I'm in charge of the PC site.
I'm Jeremy Dunham. I run all the Sony sites, PS2, PSP, PS3, and I'm half Doug's age.
This was the year of zombies. I think there were at least 3 zombie games. We saw that was one of the patterns that emerged from E3 this year. Second was probably, at least for me, it was the first time in a long time where I didn't actually play that many games. This is one of the E3s where I played the fewest games maybe ever in all the E3s.
You should have gone this year.
I think it was a pretty kind of lackluster E3. There was nothing extraordinarily exciting to look at. You know, there was some things that were pretty interesting, but yeah, for the most part, I walked away thinking I already knew about all this stuff and the stuff that was there, except for a couple of things.
Well, it was a total transition year. It was really kind of about everyone kind of moving on to the next generation in terms of the consoles. So there's a lot of trailers and a lot of people talking about things like, this is what we're going to do, but not really actually showing you. I think Sony, though, had a really good show with its trailer. Did a great job of teasing you, but they didn't really actually show you anything that you could use, you know?
Well, there was also this was one of the shows without that one big game. Like last year you had Half-Life 2, but no one really could come away from the show going, wow, the one game of the show was this game. So,
That's interesting.
Well, actually, I kind of disagree.
I disagree too.
I think that for me, the one game of the show that I really walked away with actually wasn't even on my platform. It was Spore on the PC. When I saw that, I was like, wow, look at this. I mean, it was literally every single type of God Simmons strategy game that I've ever played kind of rolled into one. And when I saw that, I had to have it immediately.
Microsoft's Xbox this year was sort of a mixture of old ideas and some more old ideas. This is clearly a year of transition, like we were saying, between the Xbox and the Xbox 360 for Microsoft's platforms. So we saw a bunch of ports. We're seeing Sid Meier's Pirates coming to the Xbox, and that's a great game, so we're happy to have that, but it's old. We're going to see Half-Life 2, that's coming. That looks, look kind of crappy at the show, but actually it's probably going to be a really good game, and it's Half-Life 2. I mean, it was our game of the year last year. And then there's Far Cry coming from Ubisoft. So this is just indicative of all the things coming on Xbox. They're going to be good games, a lot of ports from PC. They didn't all look that good at E3. So, it's a little bit lackluster. There's not a whole lot of original stuff. And I still think that a lot of those games are going to be fun, but they didn't present you with a wow factor. They didn't knock you over with graphics. And they didn't really present any new game ideas.
well, this year the handhelds kind of didn't play as big a part at E3 because of all the next generation console, and you can't really have the handhelds out there and kind of look as good, kind of give you that impression of these are wow factor games. But there were some really awesome games on the DS, kind of Nintendo showing off like the direction they really want the DS to go. They got the Nintendogs, which is fantastic. We've been playing the Japanese game for a while, and it's just incredibly addictive. Yeah, Revolution, all they really did was show off the box and kind of just held it up and say, here's what Revolution's going to be. And in fact, when it comes out, that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit smaller than what they showed. But they kind of explained some of the concepts. Coolest feature that they've got for the Revolution is the virtual backward compatible. It's not just GameCube compatible where you stick the disc in and you can play GameCube games, but they'll be allowing you to download Super Nintendo games, NES games, N64 games to the box when it comes out. So I think that's a really cool idea, even though you're just playing older games.
I think, as I was saying earlier, I think Sony far and away had the best show, easily. I think that even though there wasn't a very strong PSP presence, which was kind of surprising for me, I guess they're going to hold that until TGS maybe. They still had a lot of quality games there for their handheld. They had Pursuit Force, which is a really cool kind of driving action game. You had Coded Arms from Konami, which is really cool. Daxter debuted, SOCOM PSP. Those are all really good AAA games for the handheld market that really kind of are different, that you're not going to get on the DS or the GBA. And so it really stood out. It really did a lot to push that little system. Of course, everything was completely about the PS3, and the PS3 is what really stood out over everything else at the show, I think. I mean, I realized that they didn't have a lot of playables, or actually any, but that was kind of the whole point, was to kind of pull you in with this stuff that they're promising you without actually giving it to you. So you're leaving the show going, wow, I was really impressed, but what's it going to be like? So now everyone's going to be sitting here for the next year wondering just how much of that's true, and there's a huge buzz about it. People are wondering what exactly is it that that system can do?
All right, well, PC had a pretty interesting year, largely the fact that this was kind of the next-gen console year, so a lot of people are saying, oh, is PC gaming going to die again? And the answer is obviously no. You look at the games that are showing, and there's a lot of really high-quality games, you know, but there's also a ton of sequels. You see stuff like, you know, Elder Scrolls 4, you see Battlefield 2, you know, all these kinds of games, and you're just like, wow, these all look great, especially the RTSs. You know, you get Age of Empires 3, and now actually you do get the original Company of Heroes, which looks fantastic from Relic and THQ, but it's World War II, which has been done like to death at this point, and I'm really getting sick of these, even though the games look interesting. You know, Call of Duty 2 is another good example of that, where, you know, World War II, like, obviously is an interesting environment, but please move on and do something else original. You know, and originality wasn't a big thing at the show aside from Spore this year. You do get Prey, which has been in development for, you know, God knows how many years now, because it got canceled and then it started again. And that actually looked a lot better than I thought it would. Prey was a pretty interesting game. You have Alan Wake, which is by the guys from Remedy, which is also an original title, but you didn't really get to see much about how the gameplay worked. It was just an impressive engine. And you know, you have Fear, which is also original. You know, but once again, it's while it looks really cool and it looks like it has a great feel to it and horror-style vibe, it's a shooter. It's just a straight shooter. You run through and you shoot things, and you know, it has a lot of great action, a lot of great John Woo moments where stuff's just blowing up all over the place. But you know, it's just a strict shooter like you've seen 1,000 times before. Hopefully, you know, next year we'll see some more originality. I'm not counting on it. You know, Spore will be back, and that's definitely, you know, probably the game of the show, I think, from my perspective. It's a really, really interesting title that, you know, it's going to allow people to be incredibly creative. It's going to allow people to connect with each other in a different way because, you know, you get to like all of the stuff that one person creates gets uploaded onto a central server and then downloaded randomly to other people. So you'll see creatures that other people made and civilizations that other people made in your own game, and you can go and fight them or destroy them or, you know, make peace with them or whatever. And it's just a pretty incredible way to kind of bring a community together in a game. And that was definitely the biggest thing for us at the show.
Yeah, and I think for me, the games that I really liked a lot were a lot more the original ones. I was a big fan of Shadow of the Colossus. I think that game is going to be a lot of fun. I'm also a big fan of Okami. Black from EA looked great. Speaking of shooters, it looked really good. Lots of destructible environments. And Square Enix had a bunch of RPGs that were shown that looked really good too, like Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts 2. So I think it's a good year for PlayStation 2 in general.
Yeah, and the Nintendo DS is definitely coming into its own. A lot of the companies are showing off a lot of the really neat ideas. Beautiful Joe, you know, showing off a really cool gameplay mechanic using the 2 screens. Nintendogs, you know, and then also Nintendo bringing the system online. Mario Kart DS was pretty awesome when you're playing that 4-player online. They had that at the show, so it's been pretty sweet.
Nintendo's once again bringing Zelda, and I think, you know, it's always one of my favorite games every generation. So I can't wait for that. I thought it looked beautiful, and you know, I even eventually liked the cel-shaded Zelda, you know, Link, but this looks great. I mean, this is
and I think it's going to be like a tradition now with the trailer, a Zelda trailer every E3.
Yeah, like
that was
Metal Gear.
huge. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, on the Xbox, there's a bunch of pretty good games I think will be fun, and on Xbox 360, I think once these development kits get ready and everyone gets their stuff together, you know, Gears of War will be just one of the many good titles that are on that system.
I can't wait to see it.
Nice.